What were your biggest takeaways from this one?
Resiliency and fight. I want to start off by saying Craig Porter changed the entire basketball game. Like, that was big time for him to come out there, do what he did on the defensive end. My favorite play was the three he missed after the steal. You know what I mean, in that corner, just for him, just to continue to be that pest and figure things out. Like, that was a big game from him. I'm going to set the tone for all of us. Myself and Evan didn't necessarily have our best nights, but continue to push through. Sam being a pest like he always is. Ja. Down the line, Lonzo being steady. You know, I think as a group we did a lot of positive things throughout the night because it's not going to be easy. Like they're a playoff team and they're trying to do. We're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to contend and can try to, win a championship. So it's not going to be easy, but we continue to find a way. Especially in that fourth quarter, we did a good job.
You finally got Dre back tonight.
Yeah.
How much did that start to open up things?
Yeah, I mean, you see, like, it was just efficient for him, finding his spots. And obviously, there were certain shots he turned down we wish he didn't. But, like, the fact that he's continued to be aggressive, getting on the offensive rebounds, being a pest defensively, being able to switch 1 through 5 at the end. So that's what he brings to us, and glad to have him back.
I know the zone kind of gave you guys some trouble there, and especially in the fourth. But what's the key to not compounding mistakes against something like that when you get kind of clunky there?
Yeah, I mean, it's all a growing process, right? Like tonight we got clunky. I promise you, we get to it again, we're gonna work on it, and be fine. Like I think just you got to go through these things in order to progress and get better. So that third quarter, especially the last 5 minutes, I want to say. Was tough. It was rough, and you give them credit. But for us to figure out in the fourth quarter the way we did, that's what you want to see. Natural progression. And I think sometimes we do a job of trying to find the perfect shot. Like we're doing a little too unselfish, which leads to them being able to make rotations. Sometimes the shot is just a shot, and if it's contested, we shoot at a high enough clip that we should be able to make those. But that's the biggest thing we learned and got better.
How beneficial is it to be able to identify some of these struggles this early in the season?
Big time. I mean, I think as unfortunate as it is that DG and Dre and Max have been out, there's a silver lining there of guys being able to figure things out. So we have the idea, so we know what we need, and then obviously when you get those level of guys back, continue to do what we do. But I think it allows us to have to think through things early, and find those things, and then when they get back, continue to build on what we've been doing.
You were critical Friday night of the fourth quarter that you guys had against Brooklyn. You had an 18-point lead again tonight. Milwaukee came back. They got even with you. Do you view it the same kind of way, or is it different?
I think it's a little different because I think it's I don't blame our defense in a sense. I think we were fighting on the boards tonight. I think we had 18 offensive or some 17, some crazy number. I don't know. Like we did a lot of things that I talked about in Brooklyn. I think it was just our offense in that zone. That's another thing we just have to learn and go through and figure out. So I don't have the same energy towards this game than I do against Brooklyn. I think it's a progression. And on top of that, we responded in the fourth quarter and did what we needed to do. There was no sense of panic. There was no sense of nothing. There was consecutive possessions, or even when they responded back, we were able to push back. So just a step in the right direction. It's not a giant leap, but it's a step in the right direction.
Last year, in a lot of late game situations, Evan was the guy throwing the ball in, and now tonight he's the one that's hitting the free throw. What's it say about him that he's one of, if not the first options there?
Yeah, he's. We were talking about him taking that step, right? That's just another part of it, and it's not going to be perfect. I mean, it's not going to be something that just comes in and boom, it just happens. Like this is another step. Like I said, we didn't necessarily shoot our best, but he went to the free throw line 10 times and knocked all of them down. So like, that's the progression. Coming to get the ball late, that's an option. That's a progression. The 5 teams have to respect that. So it just changed how we're being covered and guarded, and that will ultimately continue to take us to our next level.
You also always talk about how you want Dean to take as many threes as you possibly can get him. But when he's making decisions as quickly as he has a lot of swing passes today.
The drive to the leg.
Exactly. Just what kind of lift does that give you?
Man, I mean, that's just him being Kansas State Dean. Like, like that's in. We all know who he is defensively. Like there was one possession he guarded, is it Giannis or Robbie Portis, and then switched on to Rollins. Like and got a tough late clock shot. Like that's who he is defensively. And then on top of that, you see what he's doing. He's just an added bonus to on top of his shooting. So, and he's continued to make those quick reads, quick decisions. It makes us all the better.
Like the positive evolution of Sam Merrill, what has stood out to you about his leadership this season?
He's very vocal, which I think is huge. He's in the timeout talking about. We're talking about our own defense mistakes, our own offense mistakes, and he's talking about giving up too many points. Like you want that out of a guy like Sam, who comes in there every night, picking up full court, being a pest, and then obviously knocking down threes the way he does. So it's great to continue to have that type of leadership, and it's not just coming from myself or Ev or DJ. It's coming from everybody, holding each other accountable.
Sticking with Sam, Kenny said that he's been arguably like the best player for you guys so far this year.
That
What
was
has his addition to the starting lineup meant for you
I
guys?
mean, like he just causes havoc. And then defensively, he was one of our better defenders last year, and he's shown it again this year. Like I said, last game against Cam Thomas, I wanted to guard Cam Thomas in the floor. He was like, no, like, I got it. Like, you know what I mean? You want that. You want a guy who's willing to do whatever it takes. The three ball, the offensive foul that he drew on Gary Trent. Like, that's just the little things. You know, even before the game, I was talking about pressure in the guards, and he was like, well, you got the point guard, so you ready to do it. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was joking, like, but it's like a level of accountability that you want to have. And I think that's what speaks volumes outside of just his plays. Like, he's consistent in everything he does, and I think he has respect from everybody in his locker room.
He mentioned something to me about trying to be more of a vocal leader this year.
To me or him?
Sam
Yeah.
said he was trying to.
He's doing that.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's doing that. But like I said, when you have the respect of everybody sees you in the gym, everybody sees you working on their body. Him and I try to beat each other to the gym. Like you're able to, you know, have everybody's ear. And if you say something, then it's like, oh, we definitely should listen. And it's not similar with Max. I think both of those guys do a great job of that and holding everybody accountable. And I think you need that in your locker room as well as vocally, but also going out there and doing it.
How was it being back in Rocket Arena?
Yeah,
Back in France?
love the whiteout. Love the whiteout. Unfortunately, made them sweat a little bit, our fans, but you know, a win's a win, and it's good to be back.